Hello, comrades, and welcome back to Ushanka Show. Здравствуйте, товарищи. First of all, I would like to thank you everyone who just joined my channel. It's been an amazing week or so, because in the last 7 days, I got as many subscribers as I got in the last 3 years. So Ushanka Show exists for about 3 years, and I had about 7,000 subscribers, getting close to 8,000, and now I'm already past 17,000. So thank you very much for joining me. I hope you're gonna like my show and learn something new. For those who don't know me, my name is Sergey. I was born in the USSR. I was born in Kiev, Ukraine in 1971, and since 1999 I live in the United States in Michigan. And today we're gonna talk a little bit more about Chernobyl and about Chernobyl little dirty secrets. But first of all, I would like to say that I'm glad that HBO Chernobyl miniseries created so much interest in those far distant events of 1986. It doesn't feel to me like it was a long time ago, but it's already over 30 years, because this is very important for people to learn about dangers of the nuclear power, as well as the dangers of the governments hiding information from the world and even from its own population. Myself, I also started digging more into witnesses' accounts of those events of April of 1986. Although myself, I'm kind of a witness, although I lived in Kiev, 50 miles south of Chernobyl, but I became very curious to learn more about people who lived in Pripet, in the town next to Chernobyl power plant, and what they recalled about that day of April 27 after the explosion at the Chernobyl unit number 4. Now, I have a small advantage because besides English, which is my third language, I'm also fluent in Russian and Ukrainian. So if you Google information in Russian or Ukrainian, you're gonna get quite a different sources and quite more information that you can find in English, because a lot of accounts were recorded in Russian or Ukrainian and they published online, but they never been translated. So Google will never find it if the keywords not in Russian or Ukrainian. So I found two quite interesting accounts, memories of the people who actually worked or lived by Chernobyl. And I would like to share those with you today. So first one is from the woman who lived in the city of Pripet, and it's from April 27 of 1986, so a day after the explosion. So she recalls that it wasn't possible to reach station by the phone. All we had were rumors, and rumors were ugly. Something was really horrible happened there. What was my reaction? Well, no one knew anything. And here I would like to make sure you guys listen very carefully what she said next. Releases happened quite often. In Russian she said выбросы уже были часто. So she's talking that releases from the power plant happened quite often. This is a nuclear power plant, so you can imagine what kind of releases she's talking about. And they happen quite often. And then she continues. We knew because they start washing down the streets. Like every night, you see the trucks on the streets of Pripyat spraying sidewalks and the roads with special foam. So we knew another release happened. So that short comment made me very curious, but I was like, nah, that person probably delusional. You need to take her to infirmary. Like, she probably making kind of stories about it. Then I found another comment. This time it's from Yuri Andreev, who was actually a shift manager on Chernobyl power plant, and he had a similar comment about his memories about working at the Chernobyl power plant. So this guy kind of got lucky, because apparently he worked evening shift the day before on April 25th. So he came back at 1 o'clock in the morning and went to bed, and he didn't hear any explosions. But when he woke up, his wife came back from the market, and she said there's rumors about some kind of accident at the power plant. The people died, there was explosion, and they said you're not supposed to sell any greens or cabbages in the market. And the guy replied, it's not possible, explosion is not possible at our power plant. Just like Jatlov in HBO series, this shift manager said exactly the same thing, explosion not possible. But then he said, then I look outside he already saw поливочные машины, so he see the trucks. They already were spraying foam and water on the streets and realized that something did happen. And then he continues, and here again, I want you guys to listen very carefully. He said, in 1982, we already had a small accident on the unit number 1. That time, one channel melted down. So, unit number 1, Chernobyl power plant in 1982, they had a small reactor meltdown and one of the channels melted. Back then, we also washed down the streets. Then we actually had to replace all the blacktop in town, and we had to replace sand in the children's sandboxes. This is crazy. We had to replace sand at the playgrounds in the sandboxes, but there was no talks, no conversation about evacuation. So as you see, Chernobyl power plant had serious problems prior at the explosion on April 26, 1986. It's just the Soviet government, Soviet authorities managed to sweep it under the rug and hide it from the world attention, and as a result, you hide little things and then the big thing will happen. It's just, this is how it always works. The little things always built up together and that big nasty thing happened. And later, it's interesting, Comrade Andreev, he said extremely curious thing, that he actually read the procedure for that test. If you watch the show, explosion happened at the end of the test when they tried to abort the test, and that is when graphite tipped in, rods went back in the reactor, but instead of shutting it down, they actually made a spike in the power, and it's what made the reactor explode. So he said he read that procedure, and he said if you go step by step, there's no other way but to explode the reactor. So he thinks that was done on purpose. Someone wrote the procedure or changed the procedure in such a way that it will make the reactor to explode. So this, we're kind of talking about some weird conspiracy theory there. But his idea said, I thought after reading that procedure that someone who knew about dangerous modes of the reactor, of its vulnerabilities, they on purpose created that procedure to make reactor go nuclear at that point. Well, not nuclear, but to go explode. And the purpose of that was not only to explode the reactor, but also to explode and implode the Soviet Union. So I thought it would be quite interesting comments to share with you guys. So they had problems before, and even people in Pripet, because that's one of the kind of details in the show that really shocked me, that people acted totally confident, like, hey, you see the power plant on fire, you shouldn't be outside watching it like it's some kind of fireworks. You should be hiding, sealing the windows. But people were used to such problems because it happened before, and that's why they were so careless, and they paid the high price. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll talk to you soon. До свидания. Goodbye. And if you love my channel and would like to show your support, please click on the link below this video and become the patron of the Ushanka Show. For as little as $1, you can help us grow and create the new, interesting videos about the life and soul